Have you ever played a game that made you stop and think, wait, am I even human anymore? The kind of game where enemies crumble before you, the world bends to your will, and every move you make feels unstoppable. Here's the ultimate experiences that let you step into the shoes of gods, monsters, and legends. 10 games that make you feel like a god. At number 10, we have Dynasty Warriors. This game is the ultimate power fantasy of mowing down armies single-handedly. You're not fighting soldiers. You're annihilating them by the thousands. Every swing of your weapon sends dozens of enemies flying through the air, and special attacks clear entire platoons in a single move. It's pure chaos, and you're the calm center. The game doesn't challenge your survival so much as it celebrates your dominance. You decide the flow of the battlefield, capturing bases and wiping out generals who barely stand a chance. Whether you're wielding spears, swords, or magic fans, every encounter feels like a showcase of divine power. Dynasty Warriors makes you feel legendary, unstoppable, and larger than life. Number 9, The Darkness 2. As Jackie Estacado, host of an ancient demonic force, you wield both firearms and the terrifying power of the darkness itself. Your supernatural arms rip enemies apart, devour their hearts for health, and hurl objects with brutal precision. You can tear car doors off and use them as shields or impale enemies with street poles like it's nothing. Few games balance sheer brutality with such smooth control. You feel like a one-man army of darkness, stalking through chaos with confidence and style. Every kill feeds your power, making you more unstoppable. The kind of experience that perfectly captures the fantasy of being a predator among mortals. Number 8 is Batman Arkham City. Arkham City isn't about having superpowers. It's about mastery. You're a man surrounded by killers, armed with nothing but skill and intelligence. Every punch lands with purpose, every counter is precision. The free-flow combat system makes you feel untouchable, moving between enemies like a predator among prey. One moment you're on the ground breaking bones, the next you've vanished into the shadows, taking thugs out one by one. You control every fight, every encounter, every inch of the city. This isn't just about strength, it's about control. You plan, you strike, you disappear. By the time the last enemy realizes what's happening, it's already over. Arkham City doesn't just make you feel powerful. It makes you feel like the apex predator of Gotham. At number 7 is Prototype 1 and 2. In Prototype, you're not a hero, you're a weapon. Alex Mercer and James Heller aren't fighting for glory, they're walking disasters. You sprint up skyscrapers, rip tanks in half, and consume enemies to steal their powers and memories. Every movement feels explosive. You're fast, brutal, unstoppable. New York becomes your playground and your battlefield. Soldiers, helicopters, monsters, none of it matters. You are the virus. By the time you've unlocked your full potential, you're clearing city blocks in seconds. Prototype nails the feeling of raw, unchecked power. In this game, you are the chaos. Number 6 is Asura's Wrath. Asura's Wrath takes over the top and breaks the meter. You're a demigod fueled by rage, punching enemies the size of continents and shattering planets with your fists. Every battle feels like the final act of an anime you didn't know existed. You're not just fighting gods. You're tearing them apart, piece by piece, fueled by nothing but anger and willpower. The game doesn't care about realism. It's pure emotion turned into violence. Every QTE, every explosion, every roar makes you feel unstoppable. It's not about challenge or choice, and it's about catharsis. Asura's Wrath makes you feel like the angriest, strongest being in the universe, and it's glorious. Max Payne Series 1, 2, and 3. Max Payne is a god of violence and precision. Bullet time turns every gunfight into a slow-motion ballet of chaos, where you control every shot, every dodge, every kill. In the original games, the noir tone and brutal gunplay made you feel like death personified. Calm in the storm, untouchable under fire. By Max Payne 3, that feeling evolves. Cinematic shootouts, dynamic movement, and flawless slow-motion gunfights make you feel like an unstoppable force. You're outnumbered, outgunned, but never outmatched. When time slows down, you own the room. Max may be broken inside, but in combat, he's untouchable. It's pure power in motion. At number 4 is Sifu. Sifu starts by humbling you. Every fight is brutal, every mistake punished. But when it clicks and when you finally master the timing, the dodges, the flow, you'll feel like a god, and it's amazing. Each encounter turns into a flawless display of martial arts precision, where you dismantle entire rooms of enemies without taking a hit. Every counter feels earned, every knockout satisfying. You're not given power in Sifu. You earn it through patience, skill, and rhythm. The aging mechanic adds weight to every death, pushing you to improve, to sharpen yourself into a weapon. By the end, you're not just a fighter, you're a master. Clearing a level without aging feels like achieving transcendence. Sifu makes you feel human at first, and a god of combat by the end. Number 3 is Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor. Shadow of Mordor turns you into a walking nightmare for orcs. You're Talion, a ranger fused with the spirit of an ancient wraith, giving you supernatural power and brutal precision. You can decapitate captains, teleport through shadows, and dominate the minds of your enemies. The Nemesis system makes every kill personal, turning the battlefield into your chessboard. Soon, you're not just fighting Mordor, you're controlling it. You bend entire armies to your will, watching as your branded war chiefs tear through Sauron's ranks in your name. Few games capture the feeling of rising from nothing to become a true overlord. Every assassination, every domination, every fiery explosion reminds you that you're more than human. You're the fear that rules Mordor. At number 2, we have Infamous 1 and 2. Infamous gives you the rush of raw, elemental power. Electricity coursing through your veins as the city bends to your will. You start as Cole McGrath, just a bike courier caught in an explosion. But that accident turns you into a walking power plant. Every step crackles with energy. You scale skyscrapers in seconds, rain lightning on enemies, and blast shockwaves that send soldiers flying. Whether you choose to be a hero or an unstoppable menace, the power always feels incredible. By Infamous 2, your abilities evolve, summoning storms, wielding ionic blasts, and shaping the battlefield itself. Combat becomes a playground of destruction and control. Few games capture that feeling of absolute dominance, while still giving you moral weight behind every choice. You're not just playing a superhuman. You are one. And the city? It either fears you or worships you. And finally, number 1 is Devil May Cry 5. This game is pure, unfiltered style and power. Dante, Nero, and V aren't just fighting demons. They're humiliating them. The combat is fast, flashy, and endlessly deep. Once you master the flow, the combos, the weapon swaps, the perfect dodges, the game turns into an art form. You don't just win fights, you perform them. Each battle is a chance to flex your mastery, to rack up S-rank combos while everything around you explodes in chaos. When you're in the zone, juggling demons midair to a heavy metal soundtrack, it's impossible not to feel like a god. DMC5 rewards skill with dominance, turning every room into your personal stage of destruction. You're stylish, unstoppable, and untouchable. Anyway, guys, if you enjoy this type of content, then let me know in the comments.